Hey everybody, welcome back to Q-Tips. We are the Video Store Junkies, and we are back once again to bring you a few selections to watch over the weekend on streaming. And we're going to jump right into it, and I will throw this over to Zachary.
Thank you so much, Renee. So I have a theme this week,
Ooh.
and because of a movie I actually just watched last night again. But I'm not going to start with that movie. I'm going to start with a bit of a rerun. This is a movie that I recommended a while back, but since it fits into my wonderful theme, I'm going to let myself do a rerun. The theme is horror movies that were made even scarier because my dog randomly started growling at the door in the middle of them.
Oh my god.
The first movie, I mentioned this last time actually, and I actually don't think I went back and finished this movie because I
I
started
remember
watching
this.
it. Okay, you know what I'm talking about.
I
Yeah.
watched the movie. Yeah.
This
yeah.
this is a movie that creeps me out, and I had to stop watching it last time because I was already creeped out, and the dog randomly started growling at the door. But the first, the first movie, if you are listening about 6 months ago, you remember me recommending Lake Mungo, which is a an Australian film. It's a faux documentary, kind of a found footage type thing. But don't let that turn you off. It's actually one of the good ones, and it's about a family who they lose their teenage daughter in a tragic accident, which is bad enough. But then some weird things start happening around their house, and they start seeing and hearing things. And I think it's the son who starts to try to document it. Things get really weird. There are lots of twists. I actually don't think, like I said, I don't think I finished watching this. So this is maybe a good chance. Maybe this is what I'm going to do this weekend. I'm going to try to finally finish Lake Mungo, and I'll maybe put the dog in another room while I'm doing it. Because I'm not kidding when I say this is a movie that kind of unsettles me, and it was just too much when the dog randomly started growling at the door. So Lake Mungo, it's playing on Tubi, Plex, and Vudu. And speaking of things that I find unsettling regardless, Bill, what's your first pick this week?
Well, my theme this week is the films of Bert I. Gordon, who recently passed away at the age of like 1,000 or something. No, seriously, he was born in 1922. So, yeah, he was 100 years old.
Wow.
100 years old. He made a bunch of movies, most of them kind of not good. His big thing was giant whatevers. He knew how to use a rear projection screen, so like he would have lizards being dinosaurs and the amazing colossal man, Earth versus the Spider, one of the good ones, Attack of the Puppet People, lots of stuff, and that was kind of his shtick. So if you thought giant grasshoppers attacking Chicago was a good idea, Bert was your guy. The special effects are really slapstick, but they're fun. You know, they're worth watching when you're a kid. But there's one he did that I think is really good, but it's been a while since I've seen it, and I'm sort of reluctant to go see it again. Because in my memory, it's way better than anything he's ever done, and just I was enraptured by it when I was a child, and it's 1962's The Magic Sword. And it's a fantasy, and low-budget fantasy usually blows. It's just not a genre that usually works well in a low budget. It looks cheap and crappy and cosplay. Even when they spend a lot of money on stuff, you look at the pictures. I was looking at the pictures of Disney's latest Snow White debacle, and you're like, this looks. At Dragon Con, there was so much better looking costumes than what this multi-gazillion dollar company has been able to do. But I don't know, man. With The Magic Sword, it somehow worked. It's about a young lad who's the foster son of an elderly sorceress. And on his birthday, he wants to go rescue the prince who's been kidnapped by an evil sorcerer, played by Basil Rathbone. I mean, he hit some hard times, but he's good in this movie. And his stepmom, Estelle Winwood, who's wonderful, doesn't want him to go, but she shows him all this cool stuff he's going to get when he turns 21, like a magic steed and a magic sword and a shield and, 7 knights that are frozen, but they're going to get unfrozen when it's his time. So he tricks her and locks her in a basement, takes all the stuff, and they go off to rescue the princess. And then the rest of the movie is the bad guys killing these knights in really horrific ways. Like, it's terrifying. It was the scariest damn thing I ever saw when I was a kid. People actually die in this film, unlike most kids' fantasies. and just worth seeing. It's got a two-headed dragon. It's got Vampira in a small role. So that's cool. I mean, this is just a whole lot of fun, and you're like, where was this Burt Gordon? He should have done more. I don't know if this movie is so good that even though they made fun of it on Mystery Science Theater 3000, they actually admitted it was by far the best Burt Gordon movie, and even that aside, a pretty fun movie on its own right. And now that I'm saying this, it occurs to me that I have not at all actually searched to see if any of these movies are playing anywhere.
Oh my god, I love it.
Well, according to the internet, Bill, the Magic Sword is not only available anywhere; it's available just about everywhere. It's on
good.
Prime Video, Fubo, Tubi, PureFlix, Pluto TV, Night Flight, Plex, Freevee, Cult Pix, and Flix Fling. I haven't even heard of some of those places, but apparently you can watch this movie there.
I think Burt was not really as good at keeping the copyright bills paid up as making movies.
Probably not.
I think if you want to copy this off of one of those fine channels and then release it under Zach's Magic Cinema label, you probably could.
Which is incidentally the name of my new streaming service. I've been having trouble attracting subscribers because right now it's just Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. And the only thing I could find.
Well, now you got the magic sword.
Now I'm going to double my library. So yeah, it's $25 a month, folks. Come on, it's cheap.
There you are.
Yeah.
Come on,
Probably get you Frankenstein Island.
Oh, I bet you could. And White Pongo. That would be
boy.
great. Yeah, yeah. And
So basically,
get some
I'm just
subpar copies too. Don't
just
get like
creating,
don't copy this off the Criterion channel. Just
the
get the
VHS.
worst possible.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fifth
I like
generation dupe.
you know
um,
what? You joke, but I almost feel like there would be like a weird market for that now. Like, because people
Yeah.
are so into like retro VHS stuff. Like, I don't know. Maybe it would work out.
Probably.
Yeah, there you go. Either that or we run it through some AI filter and to try to fix it, but it comes out all weird and AI and too many fingers and it'd be great. I'm liking this idea. It's like Be Kind Rewind, only higher tech.
Exactly.
Well, let me throw this over to Renee.
You're supposed to say,
thanks so much.
speaking of too many fingers.
Speaking of too many fingers,
I'm sorry. That's your secret. That's your secret to keep, Renee. I'm sorry. I shouldn't
It's
have
true.
said
Do you remember that old SNL commercial where it was like finger off or something? And does anybody
No.
remember that? It was back when Victoria Jackson was on.
that. Oh.
I'll have to find it. I'll send you.
so what was the
Send
premise
you
that
it.
this would take off your finger?
Well, it was like, oh, she's so socially awkward because she has an extra finger, and so it was basically like a wart off. There you go, he found it. Yeah, so it's like a
Oh
wart
my
off
God.
kind of thing, and you just apply it to your finger, and it eventually like will dry up and fall off. It's great. It has like Victoria Jackson, I think, and Kevin Nealon in the commercial.
Sure.
So,
Oh,
yeah,
that's awesome. I'll have to check that
the
out.
good old days of SNL.
Yep.
Anyway, so I too have a theme, and my theme is Toby Huss.
Who?
Wow, Bill. Wow. Toby Huss is the guy that you know, even though that you don't know you know him. And so my first movie recommendation is called The Occupants. And it is the story of a young family, Lucy and Wade and their baby. And of course, they have just moved into a new home. Lucy is a therapist that focuses a lot on domestic abuse. So she sees a lot of things and she's all about, ending the cycle of abuse. And they've moved into this new home and both Lucy and Wade just start seeing ghosts. And they're really almost like tangible, they're not like apparitions or anything. These are like they're seeing these solid forms in their house. And it appears that something really bad happened with the family that lived in the house. So knowing that this is like her specialty, Lucy is like, I'm going to help end this cycle. Hopefully I can help these ghosts, figure out what they're doing and how we can kind of help them move along. I know it sounds very ghost whispery, but it's not. It's a little spookier than that. So she is just determined to help these ghosts, and how all of this connects to, people that she knows and things that they're going through. And It's a pretty good flick. It is fairly suspenseful. I enjoyed it a bit more than I expected to. Has some pretty good little twists in it. And yeah, it is pretty good. And this movie is called The Occupants. And you can watch it on...
Vudu, Tubi, Crackle, Fandor, FilmRise, Plex, and Freevee.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's right after the Magic Sword. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so on that note, I'll throw it back to you, Zach.
Thank you so much, Renee. And I actually, now I'm kind of interested in that movie because not only does it have Toby Huss in it, but it also has James Urbaniak, which I'm a Urbaniak. That doesn't work very well. But we were talking about Dragon Con earlier. He was actually at Dragon Con one year and did one of the funniest improv shows I've ever seen, which granted the bar is pretty low there, but no, he's hilarious. I love him.
It's funny you mentioned I did not. I for some reason he like kind of looked unrecognizable to me in this movie, and I think it's just like the character he was playing is so straight. It's bananas. Yeah, it's
interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I think you might enjoy it.
Yeah, well, yeah, James Urbaniak, for those of you who don't know, the star of the recent hit Oppenheimer, playing in theaters everywhere. I'm just kidding. He was in like one scene in that movie.
Wow.
Anyways, so going with my theme of movies that were made scarier because my dog was freaking out while I was watching them. This is actually a movie I just watched, or I should say rewatched last night for the first time in a little while. I remembered it being pretty good, and it is pretty good. It was made even spookier because, like, I don't know, maybe like an hour into the movie, my dog just randomly started growling at the door, and I have no idea why. There was nothing out there. There's no one else home.
That you could see.
That I could see. Good point. Good point. The film is the name of the film is The Autopsy of Jane Doe, and it is about a man and his son who are morticians. The man is played by Brian Cox, and his son is played by Emil Hirsch. Who, by the way, I think, man, I feel like Emil Hirsch is actually like a super underrated actor. I feel like his entire career was like just flatlined by being in Speed Racer, and I feel really bad for him because I think he's a really great actor. He's really great in this. Obviously, Brian Cox is amazing in this. But yeah, so this is a father and son, and they're undertakers, and they're just finishing up for the day when the sheriff brings in a new body, a fresh body, and which was mysteriously found at a crime scene where a bunch of people were killed, and basically he wants a rush job on it, so they have to stay and perform an autopsy on her. It's the body of a young woman. They don't know who it is, though, because it's Jane Doe, because that's the name of the movie. And let's just say things go from weird to spooky pretty quick. Bill, you were there the time. Yeah, we filmed in an actual funeral home, right?
Yes.
You were there. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's something about funeral homes. Like, I get it. Death it's a part of life and all. But there is something that's just like very, very creepy about funeral homes to me. And this one, they're like in a funeral, like the actual where they're doing all the autopsies is in like a basement, and I don't know. It's very creepy to me. So, The Autopsy of Jane Doe. It's on Hulu. It's on AMC Plus. It's on Tubi, and it's on Shudder, which is where I watched it. And I will say, for a low fee, if you really want the full experience, I will rent out my dog. She will come watch these movies with you and make them eat. I'm just kidding. She would hate that. But I wish I could do that. I wish she liked people. I could like rent her out to make scary movies even scarier. Anyways, speaking of underrated actors, I'm going to pass this over to Bill Mulligan, star of Fistful of Brains to Summer of Blood, to give us his second recommendation.
Well, now that you've reminded me about filming in the funeral home, that was a creepy place, and we were at our absolute worst.
Of course.
The things we did in there are so repulsive. I mean,
you're talking about the we didn't do anything. It's the scene we were filming just involved bodily functions.
Many bodily functions.
We didn't do anything offensive with like the bodies, but I do remember at one point someone was like opening the door and like trying to see if there was a body back there. I was like, please stop.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, because what if there had been? What possible scenario would this work out? There's either nothing there and you wasted your time, or worse, there's a body.
Yeah.
So Yeah. Okay, well, continuing on with the theme of Burt Gordon, the second movie, which I just looked up, is available on Pluto, Tubi, Plex, Cackle, Fubu, AMC, Philo, YouTube, Sling TV, the Roku channel, Amazon Prime, and AMC. So yes, he totally let all the rights lapse to these things once he'd squeezed every drop out. This is actually a sequel. Now, he made a movie called The Amazing Colossal Man. And it's about a guy who gets exposed to radiation and he grows into a giant colossal man. And at the end of it, he is memorably stabbed in the leg with a giant hypodermic needle that he then uses as a dart to kill one of the people who did it. And then he's shot with a bazooka and falls off the one of the big dams and presumably to his death. This movie was made with his patented technique of shooting a character, I think, in front of a black screen and overexposing it, and then putting that on top of more footage that was kind of dark. And so you get a kind of a traveling matte, but it's usually the person's sort of transparent if you look at him, or at least translucent. It's real low budget, bad sets, bad miniatures, but just a fun movie. Then he decided to make a sequel, and the sequel's kind of cool. It's called War of the Colossal Beast. And it turns out that somehow he ended up in Mexico. The Amazing Colossal Man, he's not growing anymore, so he's staying at 60 feet. He has lost basically half his face. Like, his right eye is now a bone socket, and there's like a big chunk taken out of his mouth so you can see his teeth. It's actually pretty good makeup, and it helps disguise the fact that they were not able to get any of the original cast back. So this is not the original Colossal Man. But, you know, he's pretty messed up in the face, so it could be him. And quite frankly, every 60-foot bald white guy looks pretty much, wearing a diaper, looks like any other one. They capture him. He doesn't remember anything. He speaks in this weird, all distorted and everything. His sister is trying to get him back. And then there's a lot of flashbacks. This movie has got to be at least 20% flashbacks of the first movie, where he's like, hey, he sure doesn't look alike. But anyway, then he escapes and grabs a school bus full of kids. This is the poster of the movie. It's a great poster. This deformed, hideous half-skull creature lifting a school bus over his head, and the cops are ready to shoot him if he doesn't put the bus down, which frankly is not a great plan, because if you shoot him, yeah, he'll definitely drop the bus, but who's helped by that? And then his sister kind of talks him down. And here's the best part. The poster of this movie promised, "See the colossal beast destroyed in color," which might lead some of the more dim members of the audience to think that they're going to watch a movie in color because, they did not read the fine print very carefully. It says, "See him destroyed in color." So literally, and I timed it. I just watched this and I timed it. The last 31 seconds of this movie are in color.
No
When he
way.
decides to end it all by grabbing some high power lines in a movie that had been in black and white, now turns to color as he electrocutes himself for about 29 seconds and then vanishes, which I guess is what happens when you get electrocuted. The end. Suckers! You thought you were going to watch this movie in color. Womp, womp, womp. That's great. That's some great stuff right there. I mean, I just love the sheer hucksterism of it. It's not a great movie, really. I think The Amazing Colossal Man's probably a better movie, because at least it's not all flashbacks and everything. But it's a great makeup thing. If I ever lose my hair, I think I'm going to go as The Amazing Colossal Man. I'll have to bulk up a little bit, but I could see myself doing that and walk around Dragon Con wearing a diaper. And I wouldn't be the person with the least amount of dignity there, although I would definitely be in the running. But speaking of someone who is always colorful, not just for 20 seconds at a time, I hand this to Renee.
Well, thank you so much. My next recommendation is, again, it's a movie that I wasn't sure. I've seen it around for a while. I don't know why wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but I really did. I liked it a lot more than I expected. Yeah. And this movie is on Netflix, and it is called The Rental. It is a 2020 thriller. It is Dave Franco's directorial debut. The main characters, there's 4 people in the main cast, 2 of them being Alison Brie, who is Dave Franco's wife, and one of them also being Jeremy Allen White. He was in Shameless, and he's got a lot going on right now with, The Bear? So he's pretty popular, I think, from that show. Yeah. So this movie centers around two couples who rent a vacation home for the weekend. And things kind of get a little bit awkward. There's kind of an encounter with the owner of the home. And so things just kind of are a little bit weird. But as the weekend progresses, things get even more tense and even more weird. And things happen. Not good things happen. And so they're kind of, navigating this whole situation and also dealing with this, potentially problematic homeowner. Incidentally, that person played by Toby Huss. So yeah. So this movie is a good little psychological suspense and horror. It's pretty good at setting up tense atmosphere. I don't want to give really too much away. Not a lot of them are particularly endearing. But I will say there's one thing I really appreciated about it is Alison Brie's character was very much like the voice of reason. She's the one that when you watch a movie and you're like, oh my God, you idiot, why are you not calling the police?
Yeah.
She'll have that voice in the movie. So it's like, oh, that's nice. Because you never see that. You never really see that anymore. Yeah. So, I like this movie a lot. It was called The Rental, and it is on Netflix. And I would just also like to mention, just to give you a little idea of Toby Huss's range, he was in season 9, episode 5 of Seinfeld, the episode called Junk Mail. And I have to tell you, this episode is actually pretty good. Always within Seinfeld, there's kind of like several different storylines all kind of going on at one time. And so Jerry is dealing with fragile Frankie Merman. George is dealing with his parents who are trying to abandon him. So it's a really good episode. I would recommend it. You can watch that episode on Netflix. And also he played Big Mike on Reno 911. And Reno 911 is on Paramount Plus. I would highly recommend, or even if you just look up on YouTube, Big Mike from Reno 911. He's so friggin' funny. And the first episode he appeared in was season 1, episode 3. So, he doesn't have like a main character, just little bits that show up here and there, but really, really funny. And he was also in White House Plumbers and Weird, the Al Yankovic story.
Oh, wow.
And The Righteous Gemstones. Yeah. And The Venture Brothers. And Halloween.
Hey. I take it back. This guy's awesome.
See, you know him, even though you don't know him.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how good of an actor he is.
See, that's the kind of guy, if you said, who would you like to have dinner with from Hollywood? It's like, I'm not going to have dinner. Well, first of all, they're not going to go out to dinner with me. But a big name star is going to be, they're going to say, oh, yeah, I really enjoy working with him. It's like, no, what are you talking about? We're talking about Roman Polanski or something. They're not going to say anything. But these folks who, they're character actors, they always have a steady paycheck. And they know the real scoop. They'll tell you who's an a-hole behind the scenes. They got Yeah.
I think he'd be a really good interview.
That's right.
I'd also really be curious, what kind of roles are his favorite to play.
So, sir, if you're ever at a convention that any of the video store junkies are at, the drinks and food are on us. That's right. Don't order the lobster and steak. I mean, come on, don't abuse our generosity. But you can supersize the fries. You can get your scrambled, chunked, and everything. Yeah. But we just want to hear, and we'll keep it quiet. Oh yeah, we're not going to just come running here and say, hey, you know who's a real jerk behind the scenes? Okay, that's not true. We will totally do that, but we will not say that you're the one who told us.
That's
okay.
True. Yeah.
We might actually do that too, because otherwise
it'll be your voice on the recording that we surreptitiously take of you. But
yeah, right.
I've been out for a couple weeks here. I was wondering if Renee, if you'd be so kind as to allow me to make a third recommendation.
Say no.
Oh yes.
Yeah, this is kind of an off the books.
I thought you were going to sing. I thought you said, "Oh, I'm gonna
no.
try my." Okay, good.
Oh, I figured that's coming next.
I've discovered my new favorite TV show, which is unfortunate because it only lasted a single episode.
Oh wow!
But you can find it on YouTube. This is a show. Let me just read you the writers of this show. It has two writers, Robert Smigel and
oh my god,
Conan
wow.
O'Brien.
I
Oh,
love it already.
This is a show from 1991. Hold on, let me explain to you who's in this movie. The show. I'm sorry. The name of the show is Look Well, and starring. In
Oh
the
my
role
God, yes,
of
yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Adam West,
oh,
who is really great at solving crimes and catching bad guys. Why? Because. Well, he's an actor and he's played a lot of cops on TV. So this is such a good show. It is so hilarious. So yeah, Adam West plays this. He's kind of a bit of a washed up actor. He teaches acting. I actually watching this, I wonder if maybe oh my God, Bill Hader maybe watched this at some point. And it feels like there's I don't know if you guys have watched Barry, but it feels like Henry Winkler's character in Barry is maybe slightly inspired by this. But anyways, so yeah, I presumably this show would have been about him like solving a different crime each episode. Like I said, they shot the pilot. It never got picked up. So there's only the one episode, but it is absolutely hilarious. Some of the lines are amazing. At one point, he tells a cop who's giving him gruff, he says, "Perhaps if you watched a little more television, you'd be better at your job." I just love it so much. I don't think Adam West actually gets the respect he deserves for just how funny he is. And you mentioned Reno 911 earlier. I thought I could have sworn as I was watching this that Thomas Lennon from Reno 911 was in this in a bit part, but I looked it up. I was like, it kind of looks like him, but it's not. Turns out it's Todd Field. Who, if you're not familiar with Todd Field, he didn't have a huge acting career because he was too busy winning a shit ton of Oscars for directing films like In the Bedroom, Little Children, and Tar. So, but he has a small role in this, a small but pivotal role in this episode. So that's kind of funny. Also interesting, way off topic here, but interesting trivia about Todd Field before he was directing Academy Award winning films and before he was starring in Look Well. He co-invented Big League Chew. I'm not making that up. Go look at it. I'm not making that up. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Apparently never made a nickel off of it because he was a bat boy at the time, and so like the player, I guess he was a bat boy for the Portland Mavericks, and the player that he kind of worked with the idea on took the idea and took all the money. But anyways, once again, the name of the show is Look Well. It is on YouTube. It's only one episode, and that's really tragic because, it's so funny. So go check it out. You can watch it, whenever. You can watch it right now. Do what I did, and when I found out about it, I just stopped working and watched it. Don't tell anyone at my job, but that's what happened there. So that's my third recommendation for the week.
Holy shit, Renee! Did you just chat GPT a rhyme about Look Well?
Yeah, sure shit did.
We are well and truly doomed. This is pretty good.
Isn't it? It actually really isn't the worst.
No.
So, you gonna wrap us out?
No.
Yeah, Bill, go for it.
No, that's okay. That's all right. I still
boy.
got my dignity.
What? Okay. You just keep telling yourself that.
That's right.
You could do it together.
All right.
I'll take the first verse, you take the second, I'll take the third.
All right. All right.
All right, let's see how we go. All right, 3, 2, 1. Look Well, a show that deserves fame. Canceled too soon, it's such a shame. Adam West, since I look well, the star so bright. Solving crimes in his own can't be light.
With humor and wit, he'd take the lead. A washed-up actor with detective creed, solving mysteries with a classic twist in a canceled show we dearly missed.
So here's to Look Well, though it's long gone. In the world of TV, it's shown like God. A cult classic we'll always adore. Canceled the suit, left us wanting more.
For the weekend of September 15th, Bill recommended The Magic Sword, available on Prime Video, Tubi, Plex, and a few other places. And War of the Colossal Beast, available on Tubi, Pluto, AMC Plus, and a few other places. I recommended The Rental, available on Netflix, and The Occupants, available on Tubi, Freevee, Crackle, Fandor, and Plex. Zachary recommended Lake Mungo, available on Tubi, Plex, and Vudu, and The Autopsy of Jane Doe, available on Hulu, AMC Plus, Tubi, and Shudder, and Look Well, the pilot, available on YouTube.
Why do you turn into Jerry Lewis every time you sing?
Oh,
Oh,
I was trying for Beastie Boys, but whatever works.
is that what they sound like?
Beastie Boys gonna make it drop? I don't know. They had goofy voices.
No sleep to Brooklyn, Ivan.
Oh, God.
Intergalactic planetary lady. Oh boy.